welcome to Spotlights. It's the podcast for the Yale Forum on Religion and Ecology. As usual, I'm your host, Sam Mickey, and I'm really happy to announce that we have a new season of the podcast. This will be season 6. So we have 5 previous seasons. It started way back in 2020, in the midst of a pandemic when everybody was extra interested in online content because there wasn't a lot to do for in-person events. And we've been going ever since and have had a lot of great episodes and have a lot more to come for you. So this will be just a really short episode. I want to say a little about what we've done previously and what's coming up for this next season. So previously, we have well over 150 episodes. And I don't know, you never know when people say we have well over something, like this company has been around for well over 50 years. And you're like, do you mean 51 years? So sometimes I think that's the case. In this case, no, it's something closer to like 168 or something. It's a little ambiguous because some of those were just clip shows, right? Where we just took clips from full episodes and turned them into kind of tiny episodes. But either way, that's a lot of content over the years. And we've interviewed a great variety of people, from the young to the middle-aged to the old, from people who are engaged in academia from various fields of study, some people coming from religious studies or philosophy or from the sciences, um, some people coming from art or activism, nonprofit management, a whole array of people. And for the religious perspectives we've represented, we've had some folks from Western religions, Eastern religions, indigenous traditions, spiritual but not religious kind of perspectives. So a little bit of everything. And it's been a fun excuse for me to get to talk to really amazing people. And hopefully it's a nice excuse for you, the viewer or listener, to keep up with the field and hear what people are up to. So, really proud of what we've accomplished so far. And it's one of the reasons that I divide the podcast into seasons, is to get a sense of how far we've come. Because if this was just called like episode 168, yeah, it wouldn't really have that sense of like, oh, this is the 6th year we're doing it. So hopefully it's going to be a fun year. I anticipate that it will be. But there's always challenges with trying to podcast. The new one here, especially if you're viewing, you might recognize that this is a background you have not seen before. That's because I have moved. So one of the reasons we've kind of had a slow production of episodes in the last couple months is because I had a big move. Uh, Still living in the San Francisco Bay Area and North Bay in particular. So for those who don't know, that's basically the part of the San Francisco Bay Area that's north of the Golden Gate Bridge, and it covers a vast swath of land all the way from the ocean, and I'm about 3 miles from the ocean here, the Pacific Ocean, and then all the way east, 40 or 50 miles to get to places like Sonoma or Napa. Of course, Napa is very famous because of the wine industry there. And I was previously living in Sonoma, but I've bounced around the Bay Area in the years that I've lived out here, and really like North Bay a lot. And so I'm currently living on a farm because, you talk about ecological issues enough and you start to want to reintegrate with the natural world. So suburban and urban living is fun in a way, but I want to get closer to more rural lifestyles. So I moved to a farm, living here with a bunch of farmers who are much more capable than I am. I'm not growing anything, just living here as kind of a scholar in residence. And so far, things have been all right in terms of Wi-Fi access, which obviously is very important for hosting the podcast. But it could be a little spotty sometimes, so we'll see. It could be a challenge. I don't think it will be, but it could be. And also, noise can be an issue. Today was really a beautiful day, very calm and quiet. But there is a neighbor who has a dairy farm down the road a ways. But, when they're working with some chainsaws to get some trees down and stuff, you hear it. And so between chainsaws and wood chippers, there's some noise. So even right now, I waited like a half hour for the noise to subside before recording this. 'Cause I was like, it's not going to go all day. So, it's fun. And we can hear more about the farm and that kind of stuff another time. I don't need to go into it. You would see it if I had these blinds behind me open, but I don't because the sun is very bright and it kind of messes up the whole thing. But in the future, we can talk about that more and I can show you stuff more. But so that's what's new for me and why there's been a bit of a hiatus for the last couple months because it's a big transition, but having a really good time. And as far as what's coming up for this next season, I'm really excited to announce that there's a new website that we launched. It's not necessarily like affiliated directly with the Yale Forum on Religion Ecology because it's not a Yale website, but it was something that the team at the Forum on Religion Ecology put together. And it's a wonderful website called Living Earth Community. So check it out. It's easy to find if you just Google Living Earth Community. And you might recall, speaking of the fact that the podcast began in 2020, also in 2020, a book came out called Living Earth Community. And that was a book I edited together with Mary Evelyn Tucker and John Grimm, and a wonderful anthology of essays. It was based upon a conference that had happened a couple of years prior. And it was all about this idea that people affirm from very different perspectives, science, religion, the humanities, that Earth is not a collection of objects, right? To kind of quote Thomas Berry, the universe is not a collection of objects, it is a communion of subjects. So, focusing specifically on Earth, where is subjectivity in Earth? Or if you don't like the word subjectivity, we use a lot of different words: intelligence, sentience, feeling, emotion, awareness. So many different ways to talk about the activity or agency of nature. So that was a wonderful book. And again, easy to find. Just Google it. It's a wonderful book, and there's an open access version available, so you can get a free PDF. And so obviously, that research never stopped. Increasingly, in the years since then, more and more books and articles and conferences and events keep happening, suggesting we're learning more and more that Earth is, in fact, living, intelligent, sentient, feeling, emotional, whatever it might be. Lots of different words. And of course, depending upon the discipline you're coming from or the perspective you have, the background, the tradition you have, you're going to frame that in different ways. So we try to stay sensitive to that in the book and also in the website, trying to stay sensitive to the linguistic diversity of the ways that we talk about Earth. But the common thread, Earth isn't just some object. It's not some passive, inert thing. There's a lot more personhood in nature, especially based upon the modern scientific revolution that happened a few hundred years ago. There was this idea that nature is basically just a machine, and so Earth was devoid of personhood or consciousness or awareness or sentience or whatever. And apparently that was completely wrong. And maybe it was functionally right in a certain way, because of course the modern scientific revolution did get a lot of interesting information about Earth with that mechanistic paradigm, that understanding of Earth as machine. But it had serious limitations. And throughout, especially the last 100 years, whether it's cosmology or biology or geology or animal behavior sciences, the sciences are shedding gradually that mechanistic understanding. So that's kind of what the website is dedicated to. And we'll talk more about it. I'm going to have people on here who were part of building that website. Also, going to have people on here who are part of this large transition toward a new way of understanding nature. A new way, at least relative to the scientific revolution, but an old way as well. Because, of course, many traditional cultures, indigenous communities, they've always been saying that Earth is alive, that it's something that is brimming with feelings and intelligences, wisdom, teachings. So we'll have a lot of those people on, and that should be a pretty consistent theme for this new season. So I won't say too much about it now, but I will say it's basically divided into kind of three ways of looking at things. One, let's look at nature. Let's look at the intelligences in nature or the sentience or the feeling. Again, lots of different ways to frame it. But the website contains all this information among all the different parts of Earth, including thinking about, atoms, but scaling up to think about fungi and bacteria, thinking about plants, thinking about animals, and of course, even within the kingdom of animals, so much diversity of intelligence and awareness and feeling and sentience. So that's one section, just thinking about intelligences in nature. Another section is what are the worldviews that humans have to respond to this? And so this is our philosophies, our religions, our cultural traditions, our educational systems. How do we, as humans, understand ourselves not to be living just on Earth as if Earth was just a background to our lives, but understand ourselves as active participants in the evolution of a living Earth community? So, philosophies like panpsychism that say soul is everywhere. Psyche or soul or consciousness isn't just something locked up within the human being, but is distributed widely. And then, of course, there's debates about exactly what that means, how we understand it. So we're trying to give you all kinds of information to books, articles, multimedia to help provide a sort of knowledge commons, a hub where people can go to find out all this cool work that's being done. So whether it's scientific understandings of intelligences in nature, or an outline of the different world views that humans have, philosophy, religion, etc. And then, of course, there's the political and legal implications of all this. And so we also talk about the rights of nature. Rights of nature is like a whole movement within Earth law or Earth jurisprudence more generally. I guess jurisprudence is a big word. So we keep that a little muted, say law instead. And even rights is a kind of limited framework. And there's lots of ways to think of legality and governance that accounts for the agency of non-human beings. And so rights is one way to do that, but it's a very important way. So again, the language for each of these is very fluid and it's very diverse. So we really honor that in the website, just like we did in the book that came out in 2020. So it's a lot of fun. It's also just a beautiful website. This isn't some dry academic kind of thing. This is for regular people. So whether if you're a scholar, if you're a student, if you're an academic, if you're an activist, so anybody who's new to this stuff, I think you'll really enjoy diving in. If you're somebody who's already very familiar with this stuff, I think you'll enjoy the way that this fleshes out how comprehensive and how diverse this work is. Because, 50 years ago, if you were a scientist trying to argue that plants have intelligence, people would laugh at you and maybe tell you to go to a literature department to say that kind of stuff. But increasingly, we're finding signs of intelligence or at least signaling or some kind of relational activity throughout all of the earth. So it just keeps coming. Legal changes where people are giving rights to bees or to rivers or to mountains. This stuff keeps happening. It's honestly hard to keep up with. One of the reasons that we hope you enjoy this website, that way you don't have to keep up with it all. We'll keep up with it for you. You can dive into the website and share it with friends, with family, with students, with teachers, whatever it is. But it's really an exciting project to be part of. I'm just part of it in a very minimal way. And so we will talk to some of the folks who were more instrumental in getting this website launched. And again, we'll talk to some of the folks who've been really instrumental in getting this kind of research out there. People who do work with rights of nature, people who do work with environmental philosophy or religious ecologies or nature-based education. And of course, the people working with the scientific understanding that there is intelligence or sentience or feeling or awareness or what have you. There's varieties of agency at work in the life, the land, the air, and the water of the planet we're living on, the planet that we are. So that's a little intro to what we're doing. I won't say too much more. This is really just a way to say, hey, welcome back. And of course, for people who are new, welcome. And I hope that we have a fun season together. And I know I will, because I enjoy this quite a bit. But I hope you enjoy it too. And of course, as always, open to any recommendations from our listeners and viewers about guests you might want us to host, especially around this topic. So I think this year six is going to be a really fun year. And, all that's going on in the Earth community currently, we could use a little fun, some joy, some inspiration to help us in the great work of our time. And of course, what is that great work? It is about carrying out a transition from a period where humans existed as a mainly destructive presence on the planet toward a period in which humans have a mutually enhancing relationship with one another and with the entire Earth community. So that's what we're working toward, and really happy to have you on the journey with us. So that's it for now. we'll chat again soon. I'll have some new content for you very shortly. And in the meantime, as always, I hope you take care and be well.